Hi, it's Maria from Still Dreaming Homestead. Glad to be back with you. It's time for a Bible story. Well, this one comes out of the book of 2 Kings. And I'm going to talk to you now a little bit about prophets. Now, we've talked about some of the prophets and the gifts that God has given them to serve the people and to be able to tell them things that were true, that were from God, messages he had for them. Well, there was a mighty prophet, Elijah. And I may have already told you a story about him, but there came to be a time that the Lord told him he was going to take him home. You see, Elijah was not going to die. Almost everybody has died that has ever lived. But there were a few that were simply taken by God. Moses was taken by God. He was a prophet. And now we're going to talk about Elijah. So Elijah had other men that were training to be prophets. They were called the sons of the prophets, I think. And he had a very special one called Elisha. Not Elijah, Elisha. And Elisha had heard Elijah say that God was taking him. He said, "You stay here, Elisha. I'm to go to this town." And Elisha said, "No, I am going with you. I won't leave you." And so they walked on. And as they walked on and got to that town, then Elijah said, Elisha, it is time for you to stay here. The Lord is taking me home. Elisha said, "No, wherever you go, I'm going to go. I will not leave you." Well, the other prophets, they were a lot farther away. They weren't following nearly so close. And he said, "Okay." And then they came to a river. And Elijah took his cloak, that's like a coat with no sleeves, and he rolled it up. And he took that cloak, and he hit the water on the river. And when he did, the water parted, just like for Moses in the Red Sea. And it went up one side a tall wall and the other side a tall wall. Well, the same thing happened for this river. Now, of course, it wouldn't have been as tall as the Red Sea, but they were able to walk across that river on dry land. And then Elijah turned to Elisha and he said, "Tell me, before I go, what can I do for you?" And Elisha said, "I want a double portion of your spirit." That's the Holy Spirit, the one from God. He wanted to know what God was saying. He wanted to have the power that God would give him. And Elijah said, "Now that's a hard thing you're asking. I don't know that I can give it, but I'll tell you what. If you see me being taken away from you and headed to God, then you will know that you will get that double portion. But if you don't see me, you won't get it." Like, can you see Gracie? She's such a pretty kitty. So suddenly, Elisha saw, and I want to read this part. because I want to get it just right. And as they went on and talked, behold, chariots of fire. Remember I talked about a chariot? It's pulled by a horse, had 2 wheels, and 1 man or 2 men could stand on it. It was a very fast way to travel. Chariots of fire and horses of fire separated the 2 of them, got right in between them. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind, whoo, up into the sky like a tornado. Then Elisha saw it and he cried, my father, the chariots of Israel and its horsemen. And then he saw Elijah no more. And he took his own clothes and he tore them into 2 pieces. That's what they would do when they were so sad. They would rip their clothes. And so he tore his. And then he took up the cloak of Elijah that had fallen off. And he went back to the bank of the Jordan. And he rolled up that cloak. And he hit the water on the Jordan River. And the water went up on both sides, where he could walk across on dry land. I'm going to tell you another story about him on the next day, about this prophet, Elisha, and what are some of the miracles that God performed through him, besides parting the water. I think it would have been amazing to see the chariot of fire and the horse of fire. What a gift. But for me, when I get to see a child's face, or when I get to see a sunrise or a sunset, or a little bee on a flower, I feel so lucky. God has blessed me to be able to see those things, and he's blessed you to see many things. Now, we might have not been alive then, but we can learn of these stories, and we can know that they are true. That's another way of seeing. Well, it's Maria from Still Dreaming Homestead. I want to pray blessings on you and everyone in your house, in the daytime and in the night. And whatever you do, you keep dreaming and keep looking for the miracles in your life. Good night. God bless you.